Hey, welcome back. Today, let's construct a coin box. You know, the coin box. This, from Mario. Yes, let's make it. So, today, once again, I will be using this platform game assets, free asset pack provided in Unity Asset Store. Unfortunately, it didn't have the coin box, so I made it myself. So I made one coin box for the enabled version and one coin box for the disabled version. They aren't very fancy looking, but they will help us anyway. And I have also gone ahead and imported a sound, coin blip sound. It looks like a carrot, but I assure you it's a carrot sound. It's a coin sound. Furthermore, I have already written a minimalistic game manager. The only thing it does is changing this UI element to reflect how many coins we have. And lastly, I have written a platform controller, minimalistic, to make us able to jump and move. There is another tutorial for how to make this controller, so I won't be showing that today. So what we have at the moment is a character that can move around and jump on the platform, and we also have a score counter. So let's get started. Let's start by dragging this box enabled into the scene. And then create an empty game object, move it outside and child the box enabled on it. Let's call this game object coin box. Okay, let's move it to where we want it. I want it somewhere where we can reach it, so perhaps over here. Let's see if we can jump up to it. Yes, it looks good enough. Let's give this coin box a rigid body. Make it static because we don't want it to move. And then another collider as well, box collider, so that we can... Oh, we accidentally moved the box instead of the coin box. Let's reset this transform. So we move it back, and then we take the coin box instead and move it to where we wanted it. Yes. Okay, now the collider should be where we want it to be. Yes. Alright, now we have a collider on it. Let's see if we can interact with it. Yes, we can no longer jump through it. It's a little big, the coin box, but it doesn't really matter. You can make your own later. So now we also need to child the box disabled on the coin box. And lastly, we also need a coin for the animation. Let's drag a coin to it. Call this coin. Okay, so let's go through what will happen. We'll write a script that when we are touching this object from below, not from the sides or above, only from the below, start with, then we will get a coin, and when there are no coins left, we will change the sprite into the box disabled. We could have only made one of these and changed the sprite, but this is just a more simple way to go, and it could be more versatile in some cases. So let's go with it. Let's go with this solution. Let's start by creating the script. Create C# script and call it coin box. Alright, let's start by removing everything. And let's start by getting a reference to these two objects, so that we can change them depending on the state of the box. So, serialize field, private, and the only thing we are interested in is the sprite renderer, because we want to disable it. Oh, we need to reset the transform on this, like that. Okay, and then we also need to make them sorted correctly. So it doesn't matter, because this will be disabled at the start and this will be enabled, but we can do it anyway. can put -1 here so that we can see the disabled. Let's put -1 on this as well, just in case. Okay, let's go back. Private sprite renderer. Enabled box. And then one more. Disabled box. And then we can assign them. Let's put the script. Remember, I put the script on the parent object, not on the enabled boxes or disabled, on the parent. That's it. Drag the enabled box there and then drag the disabled. Great. Now on awake, we want to start by setting enabled box dot enabled equals to true, and the disabled box dot enabled equals to false. Like that. Now we need a variable for the coins, so let's make it a serialized field. Total coins, private int total coins. This will determine how many coins we have. Let's set the default value to 3. We also need a coin counter to know how many we have left. So private int coins left. In the wake method, we can set coins left equals to total coins. All right, so now we are ready to handle some collisions to trigger the coin box. Let's create the on collision, enter 2D. Here we will first check if we have any coins left, otherwise we shouldn't be able to interact with it. If coins left larger than 0, then we will do this. Okay, and then we will check if the thing that has collided with us is the player, otherwise we won't trigger this. If we can use this variable to determine what object have collided with us. So if object dot collider component on the other object, and then we could do this in multiple ways. One way is to make it like this, dot tag, and see that the tag equals to player. Then that requires us to go to the player and set the tag to player. But this isn't very good because this is a string and we want to avoid comparing to strings because this might change and then we won't get a compiling error. So I have recently been thought a better way to do this. So instead of comparing the tag, let's see if it has a specific component. And our player has a player controller on it, and player should be the only game object to have this script on it, component. So we can check if this exists. If it doesn't, it's not a player. If it exists, it's the player. So get component player controller, like so. So if this isn't no, then this will become true and we can do something. Great. And what do we want to do? If a player has hit the box, we want to get a coin. Get coin. Let's create this method. Okay, and what will the coin be doing? Well, first thing we do is coins left minus minus. We decrease the amount of coins we have left, or this box has left. Then we want to add this to the score. So we call our game manager, GameManager.instance.addCoin. Remember, this is the game manager that I have already created, so this is can go inside of it just for sake. The game, it's very simplistic, and it has one method where it updates the UI element to reflect the amount of coins we have. So this is it for GetCoin method at the moment. We can try it. Let's try it. Let's see if our score is okay. We need to change the position of, reset the position of the coin as well. Reset. So now it's over there. If we touch the coin box now, we should see this going up. 1, 2, 3, and then no more because we had 3 coins in it. Okay. What we want to do now we want to do something when there are no coins left. So after we have got a coin, let's check if coins left is less than or equal to 0. If it is, then we want to empty the box. Empty box. So let's create this method. Push it down so they come in order. And the empty box will just do the same thing as we did here, but in reverse instead. So we can copy this and set this to false and set this to true. Let's try it out. What we should see happening is after 3 hits, when we have received 3 coins, this should become this sprite instead. Yes. See, and nothing more happened. So this shows that our coin box is empty at the moment. But everything seems to work, but we have one issue. Let's try to hit the box from the sides or above. You see, it doesn't matter where I hit it from. It triggers anyway. So now we have to check here that the player is also hitting the box from below. And we could use the normals for this. So other, again, dot contacts. This shows what contact points the collider is receiving. We need the first element in this array of contacts and then set normal. And we are only interested in the Y direction. Dot Y. And we need this to be above 0.5, which means we are hitting it from below. If it's minus 0.5, then it means we are hitting it from above. If we are going for the X's, we can determine if we are hitting it from the sides, if that is required. But for now, we are only interested in this one. So now this should only trigger if we're hitting it from above. Let's try, from below. Yes, nothing from the top side. Let's see from the sides. Nothing from the side, but from below. Perfect. Okay, we are finished with the coin box. The only thing we have left now are the animations. So let's create an animation. For our animation, we want this box to go up and down a little bit. And then we also want this coin to pop up and fall down again, as in the movie at the beginning of the video. Select the coin box, go to the animation window. And then here we can press the create button. Then we can create a new animation, call it coin box. You can see that there was an animator connected to it with the controller coin box. So let's create the animation. First, select box enabled and box disabled. We need both of these sprites to go up and down, otherwise it will look weird on the last hit where the remaining coins is become 0, then and the sprite changes. So let's move it a bit and then move it back. Oh, I forgot to press the red button to start recording. So press the recording button, then change this transform just a bit and then change it back so that we get a starting point. Then we can move this to some place, perhaps here. We can adjust it later. Now move the boxes to where you want them at the end of the animation. So we are only interested in the Y part. So we can take this instead and move them one up. I held down Control to get it to snap. So I pushed it up one snapping point. And we can move it back, move the frame again to over there and move it back to where we were. Let's play this. Okay, it looks good enough for now. We also want our coin to pop up, as we said. So let's do the same with this. Change the position, change it back, then go perhaps here so they are synced and move it up. Let's move it all the way up there. And then at this time, move it back down to 0. Let's see how this looks. All right, looks good enough. I can try it out later. Okay, press the recording button to stop recording. Go back into the project. Go to the animation that you created. You can see that there is an animator controller, the coin box, and then animation. Uncheck the loop time. We don't want it to loop, we only want it to happen once. Then go into your animator. I have the window up here. This will look like this. So what it says now is that as soon as we're starting the game, our default state is the coin box animation. Let's see what that looks like. As soon as I start the game, we can see that the animation played. We don't want that. We only want the animation to play when we are hitting it. So we need to change this. Right click and create a state, an empty state, and set as default layer state. Now, when we start the game, we will come to an empty state where we have no animation. And we need to create a transition from this state to the coin box, and then one back to the new empty state. When do we want to do this transition? Let's add a trigger. So we can call it GetCoin. So when this is enabled, we want to go to the coin box. So press the transition, press the plus on the condition, and then we have the GetCoin. And then lastly, uncheck the has exit time. Then on this one, we don't need to uncheck the has exit time. If we do, we get this, because this is a trigger that activates this, and the trigger is becoming true and then going back to false right away. So we need this to transition back as soon as this animation is done. If we uncheck has exit time, it will be as, it's the same as saying this animation will never be done, so this transition will never happen. We need to check this. All right, let's go back into the game. Now we need to trigger this animation somehow. Let's go to the script, and in the GetCoin, we need to trigger the animation. So first, let's get a reference to our animator. Private animator, and then in the awake we can grab it. Animator, get component, animator. All right, and then during the GetCoin, animator dot set trigger, we want to set the trigger called, what did we call it? We called it GetCoin. So GetCoin. Okay, let's see what this looks like. So when we are getting the coin from the collision, the animation should play. And it didn't, so we need to find out why. We have an issue here. What is there is no animator on the coin box. Oh, I have completely written this the wrong way. Animator equals get component animator. Now we should see what we should have seen before. All right. Well, it works, but to me the animations looked a bit slow. Let's see it again. Yeah, we want this to happen much faster. So let's go back into our animation. And then we can select these and perhaps drag them to here. And select these and drag them to here. Now we have half the time period for this animation. Let's try it. Okay, it looks a bit better. The box itself look good, but we can change the coin only. The coin and the box doesn't need to be at the same speed. So let's try this. I think this looks better, so I will go with this now. But we have a few more issues, and we won't be able to solve them completely, but it will hopefully be enough for the game. Because what happens if we trigger this very often? Note I can jump as many times as possible in this game, so I will keep jumping and activating this many times. You see the animation becomes delayed and only played twice in this case, because we hit it so many times in a row. So to fix this, we can go back into the animator and press the transitions, and here in the settings tab we can turn everything down to 0. So turn this to 0 and turn this exit time to 0 and turn this to 0. So in both transitions, turn everything down to 0. Now if we go back to the game and try the same thing, you can see it looks much better now. Hopefully you won't need this in your game, because there aren't a lot of games where you actually can jump infinitely and that you can activate this that fast. This is the normal jump, wait till you are on the ground and then jump again. So in most cases this won't be a problem, but just be aware of it. Right, now we are done with the animation. We have one last thing to do, adding the sound. So the sound should play at the same time. We need to add a new component on this, an audio source. And let's add the clip, the coin blip sound, to the audio clip. Okay, go back into the script. Okay, let's add a reference to our audio source. Private audio source, audio source. Let's get the reference like we did with the animator. Audio source. Oh. Audio source. Great. Trigger in the GetCoin. We are also playing the audio source sound. Audio source dot play. Like that. This is the only thing we need. Let's try it. Okay, we could hear the sound when we start the game. This is fixed easily by going to the coin box and in the audio source uncheck the play on awake. So now if we press play again, we won't be hearing the coin blip. Yeah, and then if we take the coin, perfect, and it won't play anymore when it's empty. Let's try to change the coin box to contain 6 coins. It still works. And what happens if we set it to 0 from the start? Nothing, because we haven't made a check for that. So we can add this fail check on awake. If coins left less than or equal to 0, then we can run the empty box method again. Let's try it now. Perfect. It became disabled right away and we can't get anything from it. Alright, so this concludes the coin box. It's finished. I hope you have the chance to use it in a game of yours, and I hope it becomes great. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.